Have you ever noticed how many Japanese elders seem to move with ease, even in their 80s or 90s? They're not lifting weights or doing intense cardio. Instead, they practice a few simple movements every single day, movements that help them stay upright, active, and free of joint pain well into old age. And here's the remarkable part. These movements aren't treated like workouts. They're seamlessly woven into daily life, while cooking, greeting guests, or even watching the sunrise. You might think you need a gym membership or fancy equipment to stay fit over 60, but in Japan, longevity is built on small, consistent habits that support flexibility, circulation, and balance. Today, you'll discover 6 of the most powerful movements Japanese elders rely on, and how you can use them to feel stronger, steadier, and more energized, starting today. One of them even helps prevent falls and boost brain function at the same time. Let's explore. Japan has one of the highest life expectancies in the world, with a remarkable number of people living not just longer, but healthier. According to data from the World Health Organization and Japan's Ministry of Health, elders in places like Okinawa often remain physically active well into their 90s. But here's the surprising part. It's not because they're on strict exercise plans or taking expensive supplements. Instead, researchers from the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology and Kyoto University have found that the secret lies in daily movement. Small, intentional actions that keep the joints lubricated, the muscles engaged, and the brain alert. One study from the National Center for Geriatrics and Gerontology in Japan noted that elders who incorporated these daily movements had significantly lower rates of falls, frailty, and cognitive decline. What's fascinating is how these habits are tied to tradition, like sitting styles, morning rituals, and even mealtime behaviors. Western doctors are now taking notice. A recent report from the Harvard Health blog emphasized that micro movements throughout the day may be more beneficial for aging adults than 30-minute workout sessions. In other words, it's not about pushing harder. It's about moving smarter. In many Japanese homes, especially traditional ones, chairs and sofas aren't the norm. Instead, people sit on cushions placed directly on the floor. And that simple difference has a profound effect on the body, especially when it comes to preserving mobility as we age. To sit on the floor, and more importantly, to get up from it, the body must naturally enter what's known as a deep squat. It's not a gym squat with weights or reps. It's a gentle, full-range movement that keeps your hips, knees, and ankles working the way they were designed to. Western doctors have started to pay close attention to this. According to researchers at the Mayo Clinic, the deep squat position increases flexibility in the lower spine and strengthens the muscles that support the hips and knees. More importantly, it prevents the kind of stiffness and weakness that leads to walkers, joint replacements, and falls. In fact, a study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology found that people who could sit down on the floor and stand back up without using their hands were significantly more likely to live longer than those who couldn't. Why? Because that ability reflects core strength, balance, and joint integrity, all key markers of healthy aging. In Japan, this movement is built into everyday life, during meals, tea ceremonies, even watching TV. And it's done slowly, mindfully, not with a rush. If you're not used to squatting deeply, start by lowering yourself onto a low stool or cushion and standing up without using your hands. Over time, your hips and knees will loosen up, and you may be surprised at how much stronger and more confident your legs begin to feel. The real benefit isn't just physical. It's the sense of independence and resilience that comes with knowing you can get down and back up again, just like the elders of Japan have done for centuries. It might seem almost too simple to matter. Stepping outside, rolling your shoulders, and slowly circling your arms in the early morning light. But in Japan, This tiny ritual is more than a stretch. It's a daily reset for the body's rhythm, circulation, and posture. And it plays a powerful role in how Japanese elders stay energized, upright, and mentally sharp throughout the day. Here's what makes it so effective. First, the movement itself. Gentle arm circles activate the rotator cuffs, loosen stiff shoulder joints, and get the lymphatic system moving, which helps the body flush out toxins and reduce inflammation. According to Harvard Medical School, shoulder mobility is one of the first things to decline with age, leading to stiffness, neck pain, and even poor sleep. By doing just 1-2 minutes of slow, controlled shoulder rotations, elders in Japan maintain the kind of upper body fluidity that prevents tension from creeping into the neck, chest, and back. But the real magic happens when this movement is done outdoors in the morning sun. Japanese elders often begin their day with radio calisthenics, a decades-old tradition where communities gather to do synchronized stretches. These are usually done outdoors, under the morning sky, right as the sun rises. This early light helps regulate the body's internal clock, also known as the circadian rhythm, which is directly tied to hormone balance, digestion, and deep sleep. Dr. Sachin Panda from the Salk Institute has shown that getting morning sunlight onto your skin and eyes triggers the release of serotonin, a feel-good hormone, and sets the stage for melatonin production at night, improving sleep quality dramatically. So while it may look like just a few slow arm rolls, this movement harmonizes your nervous system, improves shoulder flexibility, and aligns your sleep-wake cycle. It's a perfect example of how Japanese elders support long-term health, not with intense effort, but with mindful, meaningful action. If you've ever watched a traditional Japanese tea ceremony or seen how elders sit during cultural events, you've likely noticed the seiza posture. Kneeling with the legs folded underneath the thighs, back straight, and hands resting gently on the lap. But what's truly powerful isn't just the sitting. It's the act of getting into and out of this position with control and grace. For seniors, this movement quietly trains some of the most critical muscles for aging well: the quadriceps, glutes, calves, and core, all without a single dumbbell. Getting down into seiza demands knee control and ankle flexibility. Rising back up requires leg strength and balance. It's a functional movement, meaning it mimics real-life actions like getting up from the ground or a low chair, something many people over 60 start to struggle with. That's why physical therapists, especially in fall prevention programs, are now integrating similar movements into their rehab protocols. A study in the Journal of Orthopedic Science found that elderly individuals who regularly practiced seiza-style transitions had significantly better lower limb strength and balance than those who didn't. But this isn't just about muscles. Seiza also encourages spinal alignment and mindful posture. In fact, sitting in seiza naturally draws the shoulders back and elongates the spine, which helps counteract the slouched forward posture so common in Western aging. Over time, better posture improves breathing, digestion, and even confidence. In Japan, this practice is deeply embedded in daily life, not as exercise, but as etiquette and tradition. For those not used to kneeling, it can be modified. Start by kneeling on a cushion, holding onto a stable chair as you slowly lower and raise yourself. Over time, the joints adapt, and the movement becomes smoother and more natural. The result? A body that stays more mobile, balanced, and upright, with less fear of falling and more ability to rise on your own terms. In the small towns and neighborhoods of Japan, there's a quiet rhythm you'll start to notice, especially in the early evening. After dinner, elders step outside for a slow, mindful walk. Not a power walk, not a workout. Just a gentle stroll, often in slippers, sometimes with neighbors or family. It may seem like a cultural tradition, but science shows this simple habit carries extraordinary benefits, especially for people over 60. First, Let's talk about blood sugar. When you eat, your glucose levels naturally rise. But if you go for even a 10-minute walk afterward, research shows your body processes that glucose much more efficiently. A study published in Diabetes Care found that short walks after meals helped reduce blood sugar spikes more effectively than a single 45-minute walk at another time of day. That's because the muscles are actively pulling sugar out of the bloodstream, lowering the risk of insulin resistance and keeping energy levels more stable. But the benefits don't stop there. Post-meal walking also improves digestion. In Japan, it's common to say that a short walk helps settle the stomach. And now we know why. Movement stimulates the gut, encouraging smoother digestion and reducing the risk of acid reflux, bloating, and constipation, all common concerns for seniors. What's more, these walks are often done in a state of calm. No rushing, no phones, no stress. This type of low-intensity movement is especially good for the heart. The American Heart Association has noted that even 5 to 10 minutes of walking after meals can reduce blood pressure and support vascular health, particularly in older adults. In Okinawa, home to some of the longest living people on Earth, this habit is practically universal. It's not treated as exercise. It's a ritual, a moment of peace. And that mindset matters, because when movement is tied to enjoyment and routine rather than effort and discipline, it becomes something you do for life. Just a short evening walk, day after day, can gently shift your metabolism, support your heart, and keep you feeling light, steady, and clear-headed well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. If you've ever woken up feeling stiff in the back or found it harder to turn and reach things as you've aged, you're not alone. The spine tends to lose flexibility over time, especially if we spend hours sitting or moving in limited ways. But Japanese elders have a quiet antidote to this, a series of gentle stretches called makoho, passed down for generations and rooted in both physical therapy and Eastern medicine. At the heart of these routines is one deceptively simple movement, the seated spine twist. Here's where it gets fascinating. The spine isn't a rigid rod. It's a series of 33 vertebrae designed to bend, rotate, and absorb shock. But when it's not moved through its full range daily, it starts to stiffen. That stiffness leads to more than discomfort. It affects balance, breathing, digestion, and even your ability to walk upright. The Makoho spine twist gently reintroduces mobility without strain. Sitting cross-legged or with legs straight, the movement involves twisting slowly to one side while keeping the spine tall and the breath deep. It's not forced, it's fluid. Researchers at Kyoto University have noted that older adults who practice rotational movements like this experience fewer incidents of chronic back pain and spinal degeneration. The rotation stimulates the small muscles along the vertebrae, improves blood flow to the spinal discs, and helps maintain the natural curves of the back that support posture and prevent compression. But there's also a deeper element. In traditional Japanese and Chinese medicine, spinal twists are believed to stimulate the meridian lines, channels of energy, especially those connected to the liver and kidneys. While that may sound esoteric, modern science supports the idea that twisting activates the vagus nerve, which regulates stress, heart rate, and inflammation throughout the body. For seniors, incorporating a simple spine twist, morning or evening, can loosen stiffness, improve torso rotation, and even prevent the kind of hunched, collapsed posture that's often seen in later years. It takes just 2 to 3 minutes, yet its impact ripples through the whole body. And when done with slow, mindful breathing, as Japanese elders often do, it becomes not just a stretch, but a moment of reconnection between mind and body. It might look simple, just standing on one foot, but in Japan, this quiet daily ritual is more than a balance exercise. It's a life-saving habit, Known as the flamingo pose by some doctors, this one-legged stand has been studied by both Japanese and Western researchers as a powerful predictor of longevity and brain health. The practice itself takes less than a minute, but the benefits echo throughout the entire body, especially for those over 60. Here's what the science says. In a large-scale study conducted by Kyoto University, people who were unable to stand on one leg for at least 10 seconds were more likely to suffer from small, silent strokes in the brain, the kind that lead to memory loss, falls, and cognitive decline. In fact, the inability to balance on one leg was linked to a higher risk of early death, even in people with no obvious health issues. Why? Because balance is more than just physical, it's neurological. To stay upright on one foot, the brain, muscles, joints, and inner ear must work together in perfect harmony. Japanese elders often make this a part of their daily routine, standing on one leg while brushing their teeth or waiting for tea to steep. They don't treat it as a test, but as a quiet check-in. Can the body stay steady? Is the mind fully present? This habit strengthens the stabilizer muscles in the ankles, knees, and hips, the very ones that protect against falls, which remain the leading cause of injury among seniors worldwide. Harvard Medical School has even recommended the one-leg stand as part of cognitive health assessments. That's because the brain's ability to process sensory input and coordinate movement is a direct reflection of how healthy its neural networks are. So by practicing this pose, even for just 30 seconds per leg each day, you're not just improving balance, you're exercising the brain in one of the most effective ways possible. And here's the best part. It's easy to start. Hold onto a counter or chair if needed. Close your eyes to increase the challenge. Breathe steadily. With consistency, your body learns, your brain adapts, and you build a sense of internal control, the kind that keeps you grounded literally and figuratively for years to come. So often we're told that staying healthy over 60 requires big changes, intense workouts, strict diets, or complex routines. But in Japan, the path to longevity looks very different. It's built not on effort, but on intention, on moving a little each day in ways that feel natural and nourishing. These 6 movements, the deep floor squat, gentle arm circles rising from seiza, evening walks, spine twists, and balance stands, aren't exercises in the traditional sense. They're daily check-ins, small, respectful ways of asking the body to stay engaged, mobile, and aware. What makes them so powerful is their simplicity. You don't need a gym. You don't need special equipment. All you need is 5 or 10 minutes and a little consistency. These movements don't just strengthen muscles. They preserve independence, boost circulation, calm the nervous system, and even sharpen the mind. And over time, they help the body remember what it's capable of. The elders of Japan have shown us that longevity isn't just about how long you live. It's about how well you move, think, and feel along the way. If you're over 60, these movements offer more than physical benefits. They're an invitation to stay present, to stay upright, to stay curious about what your body can still do. Because aging doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean refinement. Comment your age and subscribe for more senior health tips.